How are you doing? It's been a moment, hasn't it? I think 10 weeks since I last stood in front of you, in front of a camera. Um, Obviously, it's not been something I would have preferred not to do. I mean, um, I would have preferred to be streaming on a weekly basis like it was because I thought building up some good momentum. We had a really good crowd in. And I don't know who is going to be here today. I hope you're all, I hope you're all well. But yeah, it was a fun start of the year. Hi, sub level 28. Hi, Annalie. Um, Obviously, the last time I spoke to everybody, I was just starting the radiation treatment. Um, and so, yes, I got through it. I mean, it was towards the end, it's pretty rough. It was 5 days a week for 4 weeks. And then just preceding that, there was two treatments on my spine. And I will say good morning to say good morning because obviously I know you guys this afternoon, evening, a lot of places. Greeno, Mark Simpson, and Frost Ken. So let me take you inside the world of, if I may, of radiation treatment. So, as I probably told you at the end of last year, I went in the hospital for a procedure where they put these little markers in my prostate. They're platinum. So I'm now literally worth a fortune. So when the wife, when I die, the wife's going to cremate me and sift them out and make them into an earring or something. I don't know. So yes, these markers are basically targets for the radiation. And then when January started, I went in for the first two batches of radiation. They focused on the tumor on my lumbar, which is obviously lower spine. That was the one that was getting kind of close to my spinal cord. And then after that, every day, 5 days a week for 4 weeks, I was going into hospital down at USC, USC Keck, in fact. And basically, I would lay on a table. It's very sort of like Bruce Banner in a lot of ways. Lay on a table. They would awesome. They say, "What would you like to listen to today?" So I was listening to 80s music the entire time, 80s hip hop, in fact. And for about 10 minutes, it only took 10 minutes, but it was they'd line me up like a target, above, below, blah blah blah, and bombard my prostate with radiation. And so obviously some people are sensitive to radiation, some people aren't. Well, guess who's a little bit on the sensitive side? Go figure. Me, such a flower. And so obviously it started to get really painful. So much so that I was, in a lot of discomfort, very tired. Yeah, so it's I was tired. I was in a lot of pain, and I just couldn't do the podcasts. I couldn't do the streams. I couldn't, and it sucked. I mean, I literally had no energy, no get up and go. And even after the radiation ended, this continues to work in my system for 3 to 6 months. So 3 to 6 months later, or we will know exactly where I am, but I'm not feeling the pain anymore, which is good. Not the radiation pain. There's a whole different kind of prostate discomfort, lower back discomfort. But the long and the short of it is that, I'm sure you saw my update on Twitter that I had a scan 2 weeks ago, and the tumors in my sternum, my ribs, my spine, my lower spine, have shrunk by between 30 and 50% in some cases, which is and my PSA numbers continue to trend down, and there's no new tumors. So I'm not in full remission yet. I'm not in partial remission yet. I'm something called stable, which is a good thing because cancer is obviously a very tricky thing, and you can get unstable in any minute. So I keep on with my current treatment. I go back to the doctor again in about 3 weeks, and then 4 months from now, I'm going to have a full scan again, and then we'll see where we are. If the numbers continue to trend down and the tumors continue to shrink, then it becomes a manageable disease. It's not going to kill me quite yet, which is amazing considering August the 5th last year, I was told 3 to 6 months. And that's an experience I don't wish on anybody. I mean, if you look back at my podcasts for last year, my streams, you would see how much it affected me. I mean, you're just like, oh, you might not make Christmas. And if you do make Christmas, then you probably won't make your wife's birthday. And that was a tough one to swallow. And it's been tough mentally. And, you know, it's always amazing to have so much support from everybody. But it's really, really taxing mentally to think, that's it. I'm going to die. Because we're all going to die someday. But when somebody's giving you a ticking clock. But anyway, that ticking clock, somebody hit the pause button. So it's not ticking anymore. In fact, it's got to the stage, thankfully, where, you know, a bit of humor. There's an ongoing competition now between my cardiologist and my oncologist, so my heart doctor and my cancer doctor, to see who can keep me alive the longest. So I fucking win. That's great. I've got two really amazing, and Dr. David Agus, who's my oncologist, and Dr. Nikhil Daga, who is my cardiologist, two amazing doctors who are just fighting to keep me alive. So yeah, I'm in a good space. It's good. And I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad to be talking to everybody. And now I'm going to say hello to everybody who has just joined. RP Genius in the house, Sundancer, Raypad. Nice to see you, my friend. Melkia One, good to see you. Project Enigma, nice to see you. How are you? Everybody good? Thank you. So let's talk, and with apologies to Raypad. Sorry, couldn't resist it. Just obviously the FA Cup semi-finals just finished, and Liverpool are through to the final after a titanic game against Manchester City, who played very well in the second half. And really took the game to Liverpool after Liverpool built up a 3-0 lead. So I was one of the worst first halves from Man City, but they didn't have their full strength team out. They were resting players. And that's always the thing. You think, oh, we've beaten Man City, but nobody ever really beats Man City. They come back. And when they're missing their, you know, a couple of quality players like they do, they still have strength and depth. So yeah, I would have loved to have had them to have their full strength team out today, but I understand why they couldn't after their midweek exertions. So commiserations to them, and you know, kudos for a really good, strong finish. And I'm really delighted. My boys are through to the second final of the season. On to leg 2 of a possible quadruple. So, Playland MX in the house. Nice to see you. So, yes, what are we going to talk about? There's a whole shit ton of things to talk about. Yeah, it's a crazy, crazy time. I mean, obviously, we know what's going on in the Ukraine and Russia. And, I mean, it's just abhorrent. And I don't want to go into politics too much. But I will say, obviously, you know, Ukraine and obviously all the other various areas of the world that are currently in conflict. It's terrifying. I mean, we have to grow up and, you know, we have to stop being aggressors to people, America included, Britain, you know, everybody just chill the fuck out. And Russia, I mean, Vladimir Putin's a scary guy and doesn't seem like he's very sane right now. So yes, let's talk about more perhaps fun things, because you come here not to be lectured. So let's face it, the news is on 24/7, and we know what a state of the world is in. Let's talk about E3. E3 go bye-bye again this year. I don't think E3 is coming back. They've cancelled E3 because you know, they've cancelled this year's E3 because they want to go digital. Let's face it, when you go digital, you don't spend as much money. It's cheaper for the publishers. E3 may continue as a digital-only event. I can't see it coming back, not with COVID moving to an endemic, not a pandemic, because people are going to get sick again. You know, numbers are going up here in LA as they are around the world. I think E3 as we know it is gone, which sucks because the social side of it was always the high point for me, seeing everybody I know. But it's understandable. Publishers don't want to pay 12, 14, 16, 20 million for a booth at the convention center with the overpriced construction and the crappy food that they charge an arm and a leg for, and the shitty parking, and all the hotels in LA jacking up their prices. It's understandable, and I can see both sides. I'm just I'm disappointed that E3 is gone. Purely because of the social aspect. However, I understand why. I certainly wouldn't be going to it this year. So I'll be watching, hopefully in a good state of mind. And yes. So what are your thoughts on E3? You guys going to miss it? Let me see. Let's see. Sorry. Oh. I'm sorry, just catching up. All right, Frosty Ken talks, says, and a couple of others have said, Jeff Keighley has become the de facto face of games presentations. And I think it's a bad thing, because I've got a lot of time for Jeff Keighley. He is a genuinely decent bloke who does work very hard, but he has his biases, as we all do. And I don't like having all that power in the hands of one man or one person with regards to doing the summer thing, doing the winter thing with the Game Awards. I think it leads to very skewed results. I mean, you look at the Game Awards last year and the game that won. A lot of people have said that it's great, which is amazing. But you look at how, there was no transparency with the voting process. And I've said this before, and obviously I had my own personal view of what games should be put up there, but it's no coincidence that somebody who was a friend of Jeff Keighley's, who actually jumped on stage and announced his game a couple of years previous, then was picking up the award a couple of years later. I think it just goes to show, in the industry we need some leadership, but we also need some. I mean, this is where E3 has failed us, and a lot of other organizations have, the ESA and and so on. We get a better view of what games are, how good games are, based on the likes of DICE now. DICE, not GDC. GDC is for developers, but yeah, I'm not looking forward to Summer Games Fest. E3 Digital will be fine for me. I just don't think that one person should exert all the control and pocket so much money for people to be a part of their thing. I mean, obviously people have to pay to be a part of E3 as well. But it's just something that leaves a bad taste in the mouth, all right. So, sorry. A little bit of allergies. It's interesting. It's a very strange. The weather's been really strange here. We've just had rain. A couple of days ago it was 95 degrees. Now it's 50 degrees, freezing, and we've had a bit of rain. I'm all over the place, so I am drinking lots of water. Raypad obviously does make a good point. E3 should never become a hybrid show. Who forced them to be? Who encouraged the E3 people to turn it into a hybrid show? Jeff Keighley, who then fucked off to do his own thing. Jeff Keighley. So you see my problem here with Jeff Keighley. And again, I got a lot of time for Jeff. I think he's a genuine human being. He does a lot of hard work, but I don't think you put all your eggs in one particular basket. Anyway, yes, and Sublevel 28 makes a great point that you're going to see more state of plays, more Nintendo Directs, and that's the way people are going, because it doesn't cost them anything other than their internal stuff, and you go direct to the fans. I mean, all it does is just continue to drive nails into the coffin of games journalism. Because let's face it, games journalism is what's dying on its ass right now. And I'll tell you why games journalism is dying on its ass right now. And I'll give you an example. And ooh, can you feel this? God, hang on. How do I? Yeah. Oh, hang on. Let's see if you can hear this one. Oh, no, there's no audio on it. Damn. I was going to, you bear with me one second. Okay. So, bear with me. Ooh, do you see that? Because that's where we're going. Why is the screen flickering for you guys and girls? Are you guys having a flicker? Or is it just my machine? Huh. Okay. Stop flickering. All right. Screen was flickering. Sorry about that. Comments. Go back to the comment section. Yeah, all right. Now has it stopped now? I think it was. Huh. You know what I think it was? I had Discord open on the backside, and it was trying to notify me of something. I think it was offsetting. So maybe I need to work on my my settings. But anyway, yes, state of games journalism, and you want to know why to me games journalism is dying. And the example I will give you has two words: Elden and Ring. Now, I get up in the morning and I surf my news feeds, and obviously there's sports in there, there's real world, there's entertainment, there's video games, there's movies, there's TV shows. And I don't remember a time where the only thing everybody was talking about, and I'll talk about Kotaku because they actually pop into my feed a lot. At one point, Kotaku were doing 5 to 7 Elden Ring stories a day. And it was the most asinine things. Oh, fans upset because of XYZ patch, blah, blah, blah. Fans upset because XYZ patch does do this. Somebody speedrun it in 3 hours. Somebody speedrun it in 12 hours, 6 hours, 5 hours, 12 minutes. Somebody complete the game in 7 minutes without being injured. Gamers are pissed off because if you use magic and summon people in Elden Ring, you're not playing it right. And that's all it's been. And obviously that content is being lapped up, but there's nothing critical in there. There's nothing interesting to talk about. There's no articles as to why Elden Ring is bad for the games industry, or is it good for the games industry? Haha, you thought I was just going to rag on it, didn't you? I haven't played it, so I can't rag on it. It's not fair for me to hammer it. But what I'm doing is I'm using it as an example of there is so little left with regards to journalistic. And it's not the fault of the actual writers. It's the fault of the media companies behind them. I mean, this is why you have to go to the Jim Sterlings of this world, or, you know, the Easy Allies to watch the videos. I mean, everything's video nowadays. I mean, obviously like this. I mean, the days of reading shit is just gone out the window. But when all you're writing about is little crap about Elden Ring, I mean, what's the difference between Kotaku and BuzzFeed right now? Quizzes, I think. Kotaku haven't started doing the quizzes, but I'm sure they will, because all they're doing is trolling Reddit to see what people are talking about and turning it into a a half-baked story to get the clicks with the words Elden and Ring. Nobody's doing proper journalism anymore. Nobody's doing in-depth features and interviews, and everything is just so. It's more packaged than ever before, and it's just disappointing. I have just, I don't like going to the game sites anymore. And I'm not looking at the comments because I know some people are going to disagree with me, as is your right and your want. But it's just quite ridiculous. An Elden Ring, everybody seemed to be drinking the coca. I mean, everybody is going off on this game that a vast majority of the game playing public will not touch. But because it fits the archetype and it ticks the buttons of, there's 3 buttons here, 3 little boxes, if you will, that a game has to tick to be Game of the Year worthy, #1 most important thing in the world. Is popularity one of those? Is it fuckery? The first one for Elden Ring that it ticks is From Software. From Software are the Nintendo of non-Nintendo games, because they cannot do any wrong in the eyes of the fanboyish media. I mean, the fanboys, I mean, they really are fanboys. And, you know, good luck to them. Hey, they've made their games, people like them, and they know that there's this vociferous, you know, bunch of this vociferous section of the gaming community who are so loud and screaming on Twitter, on Facebook, on Reddit, on Discord, and are saying, oh, From Software, for Souls, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, you have to play them. They are the best. And if you don't play them the right way, you are a sack of crap. You're not a proper gamer. You're not elite. You don't get good. Those people I call wankers. And if you're in that crowd, you're a wanker. And we'll go into that a little bit in a little minute. So box 2, you know, box 1, we've had the From Software. Box 2, George R.R. Martin. I said J.R.R. Martin. Obviously, nobody knows who J.R. is unless you're my age and you watched Dallas in the 70s and 80s. George R.R. Martin is, for some reason, has become the holy ghost of fantasy fiction. I've no fucking idea why, to be honest with you. Let's break it down. Game of Thrones, fun, entertaining, really enjoyed it. Not the greatest show of all time, very enjoyable. The end series, they got a little bit spaffy, but it registers so low on my give a fuck meter that I watched it and went, didn't feel cheated or anything like that. And I watched it with the wife every week religiously as soon as it dropped on HBO. And I appreciated it, enjoyed it to a certain level. But I mean, take it or leave it. Now, tried reading the books. I've had more entertainment from an IKEA fucking instruction manual than I have from the Song of Fire and Ice, or Ice and Fire, or whatever the hell it's called. Got the first book in there, started reading it, put it down. After about a chapter, walked away. Fuck that shit. The fact that George R.R. Martin can't even finish his series for his fans and then goes off and fucking writes this game for From Software and is everybody spaffing on him, that's box 2, so that's a double negative from me. And the third one I've already covered. It's the vocal aspect. It's the vocal subset of gamers that really... I don't know how to respond to that. Shut up, you tart. Yes, I just called my phone a tart. I don't think that, you know, everybody gets vocal, everybody has their favorites, blah, blah, blah. But let's face it, From Software fans are the Snyderverse fans of video games. Sorry, that's it. I've lumped you in. If you are a From Software fan and you get vocal on the internet over and over and over about these games and say the same things over and over and over, you're a fucking Zack Snyder fan. That's all you are. I mean, the two flip sides, same coin. I guarantee you these are the people who are like, well, I want the Suicide Squad cut, the Snyder cut of that one as well, and the Snyder cut of Batman v Superman, and the Snyder cut of the 300 and Watchmen 6, and I think he should be given Wonder Woman 2 and Aquaman, and so just stop it. I mean, you watch the Oscars, you know, obviously there was, but the two fan favorite bits were voted from Justice League, the Snyder cut. Do me a fucking favor. I mean, this is what it is. This is how the idiocracy of social media and how this taps into Elden Ring in particular and anything that From Software does and George R.R. Martin, because this game is not selling tens of billions of fucking units. I know lots of people who are not touching this game with a barge pole. I'm not touching it with a barge pole because of my previous experience with From Software games. It just doesn't suit me. And I am perfectly happy to say, go off and enjoy it. I'm happy for you to enjoy it. But when it's the same with the Justice League and the Snyderverse, go off and enjoy it. But when everything I see now is influenced by this very vocal, small fan base that then the media are pandering to, which means the vocal fan base gets louder and the media panders even more. You've got this you've got this snake eating its own tail. And that's the problem. We've had it with Nintendo for fucking decades. And I will stand here and I will turn around and say Nintendo's a hack toy company. That's all they do. They do toys. They don't make fucking challenging, interesting, innovative games. They make innovative consoles that are really interesting. The Wii U, even on how they try to do the tablet and the motion controls and everything else. And now, and then the Switch and whatever else is coming. But they only do the same 6 fucking games. Which is what From Software does. It does the same fucking game and dresses it up over and over and over. Now, if you enjoy those games, good luck to you. But let's not think that Nintendo, From Software, George R. R. Martin, etc., are reinventing the fucking wheel and providing innovation on a daily basis. And let's talk about Horizon Forbidden West. Now, that's a game that shipped not long before Elden Ring. Or was it just after? I can't remember. All I know is around hospital time. Horizon Forbidden West is a fantastically magnificent game that is getting zero coverage because everybody, the loudest voices in the room are demanding Elden Ring coverage, and the media too spineless to actually cover something different because, it's all about the hits. I have to get the hits because if I don't have the hits, I don't get paid. I don't get my $2 a day. And it sucks because, again, I feel for all the journalists who must be soul crushing for them to absolutely have to do this on a daily basis. They probably didn't sign up for this job. They probably didn't sign up for, oh, yes, I'm going to be a news blogger. Now that's great. I'm going to talk about video games. It's going to be, oh, yeah, great. So what do I have to write about it today, boss? Well, pitch me on stuff. Well, I'd like to do this, and this. And the boss says, fuck off. I've been on Reddit. I've been on Twitter. I've been on the Facebooks. I've been on the TikToks as well. And everybody's talking about Elden Ring, and that's all we're going to do. So today I want 27 articles about Elden Ring. I mean, that's why you would reach for the fucking scotch bottle and down it in wine. And I feel for so many of these people. A lot of people, they're just hacks, in my opinion. But it must be soul-crushing. What do? I went to journalism school. I got $150,000 in debt. And I've worked through a pandemic. And I am writing about video games, which is my dream, because I love video games. And all I can do is talk about how some Dick Splat did a 17-minute run on Elden Ring and only touched himself 4 times. So I can't even remember the point I was getting at. But it was probably me digging, I managed to tick all the boxes there, didn't I? Got to dig in a Snyder, dig in an Elden Ring and From Software, dig in a George R. R. Martin, and a dig at Nintendo. I can't even remember the original thing I was talking about. So, yes. And look, I know that, like I said, people like Brolov, who just said, what is it with Horizon that's just a sequel? Elden Ring brings open world to a game that was not open world. That's a fair point. But to me, Horizon, for a start, and I haven't played Elden Ring, so my criticism is more based on previous titles and what I have read, because I've read a fair amount. I have watched the videos. I mean, it looks like Breath of the Wild, which to me is, everybody's like, oh, Breath of the Wild, greatest game ever, greatest Zelda game ever, greatest Nintendo game ever, oh, Factory World, greatest game ever. And it's not. You show me a Zelda game, I'll show you something that can send me to sleep in 15 fucking minutes. Because it's the same fucking game over and over. Much like everything Nintendo does. But there are fans of that. You want that. Good for you. People argue the Marvel shows and movies, they're the same fucking thing over and over. And I will agree with you on a lot of those. Absolutely. I prefer those than I do a Nintendo game. And that's just the way I am. I grew out of liking Nintendo in 1994, 5, maybe 6. I just kind of grew out of what they were doing. And I was like mid-20s. I'm not saying, oh, I evolved, I got better. I'm not saying I'm better because of it. I'm not. I'm just saying that, in my view, Nintendo's a one-trick pony. And I think From Software are a one-trick pony too. As are Rockstar, Bethesda, I mean, you have these teams that can do a certain type of game. They do it well over and over. Going back to the point I was trying to make was the video game journalism thing is going because there's no real journalism out there anymore, which sucks because of these things that I've said. Now, there's a lot of people who like Elden Ring. There's a lot more people who couldn't give two flying fucks about it, but you don't hear about them because they're not really talking about it because it doesn't really matter to them. I'm talking about it because I'm trying to talk about this disparity, this volume that we have with the social media and why it's perceived to be the most powerful thing, the best game, the most interesting game. And so, yeah, if you've enjoyed Elden Ring, good luck to you. It's not my cup of tea. If you've enjoyed Nintendo games, good luck to you. If you've enjoyed the Snyderverse, I'm sorry. Come on. We've got to have a little bit of fun with old Zack Snyder and his fanboys. And that actually does bring me nicely. In fact, you know what? I should go back to read all the comments. Hello, Hevel Q. Let's see. Billy Bo Baggins, hello. Yes, Billy Bo Baggins with a really good comment. There are outlets that I'm sure are afraid to speak negatively or critically about From Software games or Nintendo games or any other games, to be honest, or else incur the wrath of the psycho fans. And that's the thing. Fan is short for fanatic. I mean, that's it. Or they call themselves stans, apparently. Which obviously it took a while for me to figure out what the fuck a stan was, but it's based on the Eminem song Stan, where he's this crazed fan of Eminem. But anyway, yes, you have Adele stans, you have Beyonce fan stans, Gaga's, Nintendo, fucking fanatics. If you're a fanatic about something, take a fucking chill pill. Because let's face it, fanaticism is not good in any way, nor is it healthy in any way, shape, or form. Let's see. Boom. It's Heinz. Oh, hello, Mr. Heinz. How are you? I find most gaming sites have to make sure every tick has been ticked. I don't care what gender the character is or if they're left wing or right, but if the game is good and what's bad about it, that's all I want to know. That's fair enough. Playland MX. Let's see. Yes. Gabe Galliani is here. Hello. You're kind of wrong, to be honest. A good portion of journalists nowadays are what I call tourists. They use gaming journalism for their own platforms and fuck off to be influencers or something. So maybe, that is the case. I don't obviously follow any influencers. It's funny. I was having this conversation with my wife yesterday. We were on our way to dinner. And she was talking about an event that she's doing and talked about some influencers. And it just stuck in my head that I hate the word influencer. Because, the influencer word sounds like effluence. And effluence is shit. So influencers, in my opinion, spout shit. And anybody who takes money from companies to promote without any sort of balance, that's obviously not journalism. It's kind of shitty. And yeah, I'm just not a fan of that paid stuff. I think the only big thing I ever did, especially, going back to the days when I was on NBC and, doing game trailers, I got offered a trip to CES, which is 4 hours away in Vegas, by a company that does the Snapdragon processor, and they wanted to talk about the games aspect, and they were hoping to get some NBC coverage. And they gave me a phone and they gave me a tablet, and they took me to the hotel. Flew me to a nice hotel and walked around and had a cocktail thing, and that was really cool. But I told everybody in advance this is what I was doing, and actually I had to sit on the fence for several days before agreeing to do this because I felt uncomfortable by it. And I told them, it's like, all right, there's no guarantee I'm going to give you good coverage. They were fine by that. They were actually fine with that. They said, you know what? Come take a look. Look at this. See how the games play on this. And if you think it's good, say good things. But obviously don't rip us to shreds. Thankfully, the pad was, the tablet was cool. The processor was cool. They had a bunch of mobile games. And this was back, 8 years ago. And the mobile games were fun. And look, I had a good time. I saw people at CES I hadn't seen in a while. Had some drinks, had good food, walked my feet off, and then came back. And I did talk about their tablet and a controller that worked with their tablet. It was an Android tablet, and how I enjoyed some of the games, but it couldn't replicate the power of a console. But I did say free and clear that this was a trip that had been paid for by that company, and I did not make any money on it whatsoever. The problem is, in the age of, the Kardashians, so much is paid for. And even though the FCC demands it, so many people are not saying it's a paid promotion. And it's been like this for a while, ever since the advent of the blogger and now the vlogger that became the influencer. And so that to me is obviously an ongoing problem I've had with influencers. And I think I've talked about this before over the years. So yeah, I mean, it does suck. I mean, we've had people in the industry who have come into the industry as, working on G4 or whatever, and have used it as platforms to go off and do bigger things, or in their mind, bigger things. It's like, oh, I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm going to do this thing. I really don't give a fuck about video games, but I'm going to go off and do this and host my own NBC quiz show. Or, oh, I'm going to present this show that's about video games. I'll co-present it, but I don't really give a fuck about video games, so I can end up in an X-Men movie. Raypad knows what I'm talking about. And yes, you get those people. And it is more and more now that, oh, fuck this, I'm going to go off and build my brand. I mean, I'm trying to build my brand. But I'm failing miserably because I don't give two fucks really about it. And it's hard to really get up and about. I mean, I'd rather be the crazy old man in the RV living in the desert, yelling at the sky. So, sorry, I'm going to have to ask you to excuse me for 1 minute. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, folks. It's time to take some medication. My CBD THC stuff. Maybe I got myself a little bit too riled up there. Yeah, I mean, look, I rail against everything. There are a lot of people out there who do good stuff and work generally hard and are doing really good things. But then there's a lot of people who are just, in every aspect of life, you get the scum. And it's not just in games, it's in movies, it's in cooking, restaurants, travel, the grifters, if you like, the ones who really don't give a fuck and don't believe in what they're doing. All they care about is the bank balance. And I really wish I had that fucking gene, I really wish I had that chromosome or whatever the fuck it is that says, oh, I'll shill anything. Because I guarantee you, I'd have fucking been streaming nonstop for the longest time because I could just say, oh, okay, you want me to do, yeah, boom. I mean, I could have been a hoe. I wish I could have been a hoe. But I just can't. And I'm not a better person than them for it. I just can't do it. I blame my parents. I blame my mum. She raised me right or wrong, whichever you prefer. Let's see. Yes, I have been. Yes. Nexus 6 Patty. Happy Easter. By the way, happy Easter, everybody. Happy Passover. Hope you have a good Passover. Whatever your particular affiliation is. In this house, we don't really do much of that, but my wife is Jewish, and so sometimes we do a Seder, but we haven't. But we are eating fish. So Raypad, don't get excited. My THC CBD combo is not designed to get me high. The cannabinoids basically help with the pain relief, and there's a bunch of receptors that they open up that help with the radiation treatment that make it more accurate and make it more efficient. So I've been on it for since I started the radiation treatment, and yeah, it helps me sleep at night, which is good. Yeah, and it seems to be contributing, which is good. So, okay. Exactly. Damn you kids and your Elden Rings. Marcus, tell us about your NFT collection. That's going to be NFC because I have no fucking clue what an NFT is. There's the SNL skit with Pete Davidson where they talk about a non-fungible token, and they do it to the music of M&M's without me. And that's the closest I've done to try and understand it. I have no idea. Ditto cryptocurrency. Sorry, this is an old man. I am 51 years of age. Do not understand this shit. No, thank you very much. Yeah. So, all right. Sorry, I'm spacing. It's all, it's like I said, it's my first time back, and I'm standing, which is good. And I've been ranting for 40 minutes about some things. Let's talk about some things that that have obviously broken this year. We saw the end of Hawkeye, which I really, really enjoyed. Moon Knight has just started. The Batman came out. Fantastic Beasts 3 hit this weekend. And then in a couple of weeks, we have Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness. And, that's a fun bunch. And there's another multiverse movie with Michelle Yeoh that just looks so cool that I have to track down. I have to go and watch that. And then there's the Nick Cage movie, The Unbearable Weight of Limitless Talent or something. That's coming out soon. It's a good time to go to the movies. Let's talk about The Batman. Really enjoyed it. It felt like The Dark Knight meets Cataclysm in a lot of ways. Very much enjoyed it. It's actually hitting on HBO Max here in 2 days. On Monday, Easter Monday, in fact. So I'll be able to rewatch it on my big screen when everything. So I thoroughly enjoyed that one. Let's talk about Fantastic Beasts 3. Fantastic Beasts 3, not going to watch it. Wife bought tickets actually for this afternoon. And I said, you know what? Let's 86 that. Because the last one was fucking atrocious. Not getting good vibes on this one. And so we've decided to stay away and wait until it hits on HBO Max in 45 days, and saved us both, $20 a ticket. However, Doctor Strange is something that I'm really looking forward to. I think it's going to be baller. I trust Sam Raimi. I love his work. So yes, that one is going to be interesting. We'll watch. Like I said, we'll watch Fantastic Beasts at some point. Let's talk about the TV shows. Are you watching Moon Knight? Is anybody watching Moon Knight? So I am sure that there are a bunch of you watching Moon Knight. And I don't know where to stand. First thing I'm going to say is Moon Knight is gorgeous. I mean, the most recent episode just shows Cairo to be so beautiful. I mean, if it wasn't for the heat, and I can't handle the heat, I mean, fun side effect of cancer treatment, folks, because it's affecting my testosterone. I get hot flashes. I'm going through menopause. So yeah, I get really hot. I can't handle the heat. We had a heat wave a couple of days ago. Like I said, it got to 95 degrees. I had the AC set as empty the entire time. I found the coldest room in the house, and I just sat there for 3 days. I couldn't actually sleep in the bedroom with my wife because it was too hot in there. I had to come and sleep on our couch for 2 of the 3 nights because it's right under an AC vent, and I was not melting. So yes, hot countries off my list, unfortunately, but I'd love to go to Cairo. Second time I've seen Cairo. I've seen Egypt in a movie or show recently. I watched Death on the Nile, which was a gorgeous looking thing. You okay out there? Wife dropped something. Death of the Nile on the Nile, very cinematic, harkens back to that golden age of movies, like David Lean, Passage to India, Lawrence of Arabia, etc., etc. But yeah, Moonlight, absolutely gorgeous, great cast, eminently frustrating. I know Mark Spector has these multiple personalities inside him, and that's the interesting angle, that this is a superhero who suffers from disassociated identity disorder, I believe, or what we used to call split personalities. And that's supposed to be really interesting. The problem is that, especially for the first 2 episodes, the character we see the most of is a most annoying English prat. Now, I really wish, no offense to Oscar Isaac, who's a fine actor, but yeah, really, my name's Stephen, and I'm an Egyptologist, so I'm really clever. I work in a gift shop, though. So yeah, and apparently I'm Mr. Moon, and I'm also Moon Knight, and I'm also Mark Spector, and there's probably 2 or 3 more characters hidden in here. I can't wait for the comedy Dancing German to come out, and a bunch of others. Horrible accent. Sorry, him and mine. And it just is grating. It just yanks me out of the show. We've had more of Mark Spector, obviously, in the last episode. I'm not going to spoil it. But again, we've seen barely any Moon Knight. The Marvel shows seem to have fallen into this pattern that is almost a rut. No, it's not as bad as the Netflix days, because obviously Netflix had Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Jessica Jones, the Defenders. And what Netflix did was they take a story that was probably tellable in 6 episodes and stretch it out to 8, 10, or 12. And that made it boring. And I started rewatching Daredevil again now that it's on Disney Plus. And again, great performances, but some of that middle section, so much of that exposition does not need to be in place. And it really just draw it out. They did it with Punisher too. And Disney have gone an interesting route in that everything is 6 hours, and they still have to drag out a bunch of superfluous shit. I mean, WandaVision was fun, but it never got anywhere until the final 2 or 3 episodes, which, when you're looking at 6 or 8 episodes, bit rough. Especially when it's not binge watchable. If you binge it, it's actually really quite interesting to watch, the jump cuts from, the periods in time, and then finding out why Wanda's doing it and who is Agatha and so on. Ditto with Hawkeye, where it's like, all right, it's Christmas. I'm at I'm at the Avengers the musical, blah blah blah, and this, and this is how this happens. And oh look, there's Kingpin. Disney have basically managed to take that Netflix formula of really sort of like annoying and dragging shit out and telling even less story. I mean, honestly, Moon Knight so far, there's 3 episodes left. We're halfway through, and I still really don't feel I know anything. There's not been any major set pieces. It just feels slow. Loki didn't do it as much as any. Loki is still my all-time favorite, I think, of the Disney Plus, is Loki and Hawkeye. But Moon Knight just feels like more of the same. Almost like, Book of Boba Fett. Book of Boba Fett had the same issue as well. The most interesting aspects of the Book of Boba Fett, to me, were when he got out of the Sarlacc pit and, with the Tuskens and all the flashbacks. It was all his flashbacks. Those were the interesting things. And I certainly didn't think that we needed Mando and Grogu and all that turning up again. If you're going to make a book of Boba Fett, make it about fucking Boba Fett. Anyway, yeah. So, RP Genius, keep Daredevil's name out of your fucking mouth. Look, Charlie Cox is fucking brilliant. I was so glad to see him, spoiler alert, in Spider-Man No Way Home. Far From Home. Home is where the heart is. Home and Away. Homer Simpson. Whatever the fuck it was. And yes, the rumor is that Charlie Cox is getting his own Disney Plus show, which is great. He's hoping that they bring the rest of the Defenders over. Maybe not Danny Rand. Sorry, the actor tried really hard, but I just don't think it worked for him. And I'm not one of these people who subscribes to the whole, oh, Danny Rand is racist. Iron Fist is a racist character. Product of the time, billionaire, trained by a martial artist. So, blah, 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 comes back to comes back to his home and wants them to do good. Danny Rand was never an Asian character. He was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed rich boy. It's the same people who argue, oh, Wonder Woman, she should have hairy armpits because the Amazons would never have shaved anything. Really? Just fucking slow your roll here. Thankfully, we got Shang-Chi, which is way more entertaining than anything we ever saw in Iron Fist. Excuse me, something's scratching at my door. Come on. Come on. You want to come up? Come here. Well, guess who wanted to say hello, everybody? Oh, kisses. It's Spike. He just wanted to say hello. He's scratching at my door because Sean is baking. Yeah, so I wish everything didn't feel so stretched out. And if you're going to, I'll actually give you an example of something that didn't feel stretched out to me is The Boys Season 2, which I finally finished. I started watching it initially when it first came out, and then I said to the wife, do you want me to wait until you're caught up on Season 1? She said yes, but she never did that. And so in the end, I just was having a bad day a couple of weeks ago, and I just went through The Boys Season 2. And I got to say, that one really told story really well. Kept the action going, kept everything going at a fair old pace. Give story, give exposition, but it worked. But yeah, so it's possible to do that with the superhero thing, but I don't know if Disney and Marvel are just too afraid. They think their audience can't handle it. I mean, you can actually make things a little better, or at least drop 2 or 3 episodes at a time. I mean, HBO Max has started dropping 2 episodes of shows back to back. They did it with Tokyo Vice, which is a great show, by the way. I was so impressed with the first couple of episodes that I bought the book that is based on Tokyo Vice, and I'm still reading it. But it's fantastic show too. And then I see that thing is still glitching, isn't it? I'm gonna have to work on my camera and not move so much. Hey, bud. Yeah. And they did it with a show called Minx as well. They dropped 2 at a time. So let's have maybe more shows being dropped at the same time, more episodes, and it might be better for the storytelling process, in my opinion. But yes. Oh. Did I watch Invincible on Amazon Prime? Asked Graypad, and I will say yes, indeed. I very much enjoyed it. Very, very much enjoyed it. That was another really good one. I wasn't familiar with the book behind it, though. So everything was new and fantastic to me. So yes, thoroughly enjoyed every single aspect. Thought the voice cast was amazing. The action was fantastic. Yes, thoroughly excellent. And obviously we're getting Boys Series 3 pretty soon. We're also getting Stranger Things coming soon as well, which is fun. And wow, I've been talking for 54 minutes. I've kept going, which is good. Did I watch Slow Horses? I haven't watched that yet, but I've got that queued up on the Apple TV. We started watching it, but there's a bunch of other stuff. Let's talk about Halo. I'm talking about these TV shows. This is predominantly supposed to be a video game related stream. The Halo TV series. Watch 2 episodes. I like Pablo Schreiber. Yeah, is Schreiber. Anyway, Pablo. He was in American Gods. He played the Irish fucking leprechaun, and he was great in American Gods. I really liked American Gods, season 1 especially. But yeah, I thought he was great in that. And you know, I've seen him in some other stuff, you know, over and over. I don't know how I feel about him as Master Chief. I don't know, or you know, how he. I mean, it's obviously a prequel to Halo because Cortana hasn't really been invented yet. It feels like a knockoff of the Mandalorian. It really does, but instead of instead of Mando, we've got a Master Chief, and at least Mando took 2 seasons to take his helmet off. This Master Chief was like, what the fuck? Yeah, this thing is still flickering. I don't know why. I'm wondering if I've got a connection issue. Screw it. I'm almost done. Yeah, I don't know where I sit on it. I mean, it feels kind of Mad Max-ish. It feels kind of Battlestar Galactica-y, if that's a phrase. It's got a great cast again. I mean, these things casts are amazing, but I don't know. I mean, I'm going to give the other 2 episodes a watch to try and complete the series, but yeah, I don't know. Yes, thank you, Billy Bo Baggins. There's definitely some RoboCop and Starship Troopers in there. Thank you. You said Paul Verhoeven, and that just clicked into my head. All right, you're going to go down for a minute. Okay. Sorry, Spike's going to go down. Lie down. Yes, it's got some classic 80s Verhoeven. Yeah. Oy vey. So yes, all right. I talked about Halo. I don't know. All right, I am going to suggest one thing that if you have Netflix in the US, I don't know if it's aired in the UK yet, but they did. They just dropped a documentary about a guy named Jimmy Savile. Now, if you're a Brit of a certain age, you will know who Jimmy Savile is because growing up in the 70s and 80s, he was a huge children's entertainer, charity. Raised money for charity and was viewed practically as a saint. And then he passed away, and all these things came out against him, about him. And he turned out to be one of the most notorious sexual abusers in British history. I mean, the guy gave Cosby a run for his money. Cosby, however, I mean, I'm not even going to say that there's any difference. So Cosby drugged women. Savile molested children. Yeah, and so it's a very interesting documentary. It's a time capsule because I grew up watching the show Jim Will Fix It, listening to him on the radio, watching him on TV. I was top of the pops. I mean, I was explaining it to Shauna. It's the equivalent, if you're an American, of finding, basically taking Mr. Rogers and Bob Ross and finding out that they've been heads of a pedophile ring. That's the level of shock it is. And, just watching this was horrific. But it really is an interesting watch if you like those sort of documentaries. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm just have another drink. Sorry, this has been a little bit bitty all over the place. It's been, like I said, it's been an interesting It's been an interesting 10 weeks. I haven't played apart from Horizon. I did buy the Lego game, the Lego Star Wars game, because I'm a sucker for Lego games. And having all 9 of the Skywalker, the Skywalker triple trilogy, was appealing to me. So I got that on the PS5. I've been playing that as well, and I will say it's fun. It's open world Lego with missions, and it's always fun. So yes, I like that a lot. I love what they've done with it. I love what they've expanded it. Would love to see them do something like that with Marvel and DC now. That would be interesting. Even where they create these worlds, these universes, and everything's collated. Yeah. So, hello, Gohan Rage. Nice to see you, and thank you for everybody who's tuned in. I'm sorry, I'm just winding down now. I hit a wall. When I hit a wall, it's whoa. I'm going to 86 this. Do you have any more questions I may have missed over the last hour while ranting away and not looking at things? The dog is licking his bits. By the way, check out the rug. How about that for a rug, eh? Look at that. Oh, I also got a new laptop. My old laptop, my Razer Blade Pro from 2014. 8 years she has served me, and she has just died a death. So I got to get a new, more professional laptop. So hang on, there you go. So yes, the Bro Love. I love how you think Nintendo makes choice, but you love Lego games. Hey, look, you got a valid point. I think my problem is that when you have a company the size of Nintendo who just do the same thing over and over and over, and they get a pass for doing it, that's the problem. I realize the Lego games are the same things over and over. Actually, they're not. They've tried to evolve those games as well. But Traveler's Tales, Nintendo. I mean, we're talking about... Ooh. But you do make a fair point. And let's talk about some Lego. Because this is another thing I did during my... Look at the belt. Look at the belt. It's a TARDIS. It's the TARDIS. Look at that. Oh, yeah. I finally got... I got given one of those a long time ago. And I just decided a couple of weeks ago to build it. It was on a particularly rough day. I wanted something to take my mind off the discomfort, and I really had fun doing it. So there you go. Did I speak about Liverpool today? I did at the beginning. I did, and I went and I... With this, we're going to the FA Cup final. Second domestic final of the season. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. If you are a football supporter, you will know that Liverpool and Man City is probably the greatest rivalry of the last 5 years. And we got one over on them today. We drew at their place last week. They drew at our place earlier in the season. Now we're both on a collision course for the Champions League final. But obviously there is a very not insignificant and not easy challenge for both teams. Liverpool have to play Villarreal, Villarreal are going to be the underdogs here, but they've got a smart manager in Unai Emery. Man City have to go back to Madrid after a draining week with Atletico, where Atletico only played football in the last 30 minutes of the 2 hours, the 2 matches. Man City got through that, and that was a brutal match. And no wonder Man City changed up a bunch today, because we were at home during the week. I think Man City have a really hard job against this Real team, because despite Real losing against Chelsea at home, they still went through on aggregate because Karim Benzema and Luka Modric are just amazing players. And I think whoever gets, that's a tough tough tie to go through. I mean, Liverpool have played Real Madrid a lot over the years, and Real Madrid are formidable right now. They are formidable. So that's going to be interesting. If they get through and Liverpool get through, then it's off to Paris for everybody in the springtime for a final. And then there's the league where Liverpool are 1 point behind Man City. So Liverpool have a quadruple to play for. If Man City drop a point and Liverpool go unbeaten, Liverpool win the league by 2 points. Liverpool have to win all their games, Man City, and hope Man City slip up. Otherwise, Man City will win the league. And, if they win the league, it's because they fucking deserve to. Can't argue with it. Liverpool have already won one cup, the Carabao Cup, the lowest on the totem. So Liverpool could miss out on the league and still technically win could win 3 cups, which is amazing. But now we're up against either Chelsea or Crystal Palace in the final of the FA Cup. Obviously, I think it's going to be Chelsea, given the way they played in the last week. I hope, no disrespect to Crystal Palace, but I hope it's Crystal Palace because Chelsea have given us some very hard games. Today's game, Liverpool played very, very well first half. I think it's one of the best first halves we've seen. Man City were not the races. But second half, a couple of things didn't run for us. We didn't get an extra goal to kill it off. We conceded one at the very start of the second half and one at the end. So things were a little bit, switch off. You don't switch off them against Manchester City. They are an amazing team. And to beat the best, you've got to be at your best the entire time. So, so yes, there you go. All right, Gabriel, I am not going to roast Italy. European champions. The World Cup is actually going to be poorer for Italy not being there, in my opinion. North Macedonia had a fantastic result. And as a Welshman and a Welsh rugby fan, we've been on our own, roller coaster. And I will say, you know what? I will congratulate Italy on winning in Cardiff in the rugby. First time they've ever done that. And they deserve to. And so, yes, I feel for you on that one in the World Cup. I mean, it's ridiculous. But yes, Wales, however, on the soccer side, and this is why the numbers go through the floor, Wales have have a game. We have one more game. We basically we will either play Scotland or the Ukraine. Oh, jeez, I hope Scotland do the dirty on Ukraine and knock them out, because I do not want to be. I mean, imagine going to the World Cup by knocking out Ukraine right now. I mean, we might as well just kick some fucking puppies while we're at it. So I don't want to go down that route. I hope that Scotland can take care of Ukraine or move past Ukraine. And then it's Scotland and Wales at Cardiff in June 10th, I believe, for a spot of the World Cup. And we owe the Scots. Andy Robertson, Liverpool left back, love you to bits. But I really don't want you to go to the World Cup this year, not if it's at Wales' expense, and we owe you for 1978. Look it up. Oh. Okay. And Wales will lose to the USA because obviously the group that we've been drawn in, of course, is the USA, who we can beat, by the way. England, fucking typical. I actually called it when I was talking to my wife. And I can't remember the third one, but I think it's the third one we could beat. But yes, let's just get to the World Cup. Iran. There you go. Wales and Iran relations are going to be at an all-time low, and my Iranian fans are going to be very furious at me if Wales get the World Cup and beat Iran. But yes, let's get there first. I'm not counting those particular chickens. Of course, that is going to be a whole different kettle of fish because it's held in Qatar at the end of the year. And it shouldn't, because they are a sports washing state, of which Man City and Newcastle fans know everything about. Shouldn't have a World Cup. It shouldn't be held in the winter. It shouldn't be held in obscene heat. Yeah. The only plus side for me is that Mo Salah is not going with Egypt. Sucks for him, but that means he can have a month off middle of the season and help us retain our league title next year. Okay, I've been yakking on for too long. And then probably just said nothing but a bunch of garbage, which is what I do. All right, hopefully I'll be back next week. Have a happy Easter. Be good. The wife is making us an Easter cake, and tonight we're going to have a little home-cooked meal. And tomorrow I'm going to open my Yorkie Christmas Easter eggs. I ordered a couple of Easter eggs from the UK for us. Not exactly on the diet, but right now doing physical therapy twice a week to try and strengthen myself up, because one of the other great side effects of the medication I'm on is weight gain. So my diet is actually really good, with except for the occasional chocolate egg. And I'm just sharing this because I have to share, and that you know what goes on. And if you have this situation, this is what, God forbid, I don't want anybody to have this situation, but this is what to expect. I currently weigh 256 pounds. I've never weighed this much before in my life. Back in January, before I started radiation, I was down to about 225. So that's 30 pounds in 5 months. And it's medication and radiation and swelling and everything. And I have this way. I mean, I don't drink sodas. This is all homemade fizzy water. I mean, literally filtered water in a soda stream with a slice of lemon. The wife bakes cakes, but I don't eat them all. She actually sells them, which is amazing. She started her own business. I've cut back on so much crap, and my weight still goes up. So, yeah, I have to lose some more weight, which is fun. But anyway, I'm still here. I'm going to be here for the duration now, thanks to my amazing oncologist and the treatment they've given me. So, yes, you will see me on a more regular basis. Thank you so much for tuning in and sticking with me. Like I said, as I said before, there is a Patreon if you want to contribute to it. Let's see. Oh, look at that. I'd only just put that up. So, yes, there is a Patreon. I'm going to be doing this, back to doing it every week. And who knows, maybe I'll sit down with Ray on his podcast, Ray Padilla, Arpad TV. As you can see him there, he has his own awesome YouTube show, and maybe we'll sit down and chat on his show. Take care of yourselves. See you next week, hopefully. Have a good week. Be good to each other. And the next match for Liverpool at home Tuesday night, Man United. And here's hoping that we can put another 5 past them. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good weekend and a good week. Stay safe. Love to you all. Beer is out.